man, can you hear me?
Yes, I can right now. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How you making out?
I am trying to set up this music. Do you see how are you making out?
Yeah.
Like my technique?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got lost in the chat. What'd you say?
Like how good I am at making out? Like my what's my technique? My go-to? I usually
No, no. How
I
you
usually
making out
tilt my
like? How's
head
your
like
day
to the
going?
left and then, hopefully the other person tilts to their left as well. Otherwise, you got what I call an oopsie and a boo-boo on the forehead. Is that the common way of saying it where you are?
Yeah. How
Hmm.
you making out? What's up? All the same thing. Where
Where's
are you from, by the way?
or Belgium?
Oh, Belgium. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Where you are like?
Yeah,
Are
it's
you
kind of
like
a
in the
time
south
difference.
or?
I'm in Jersey.
Okay. So that's a little bit. Well, that's East Coast, a little bit in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Just under New York.
Yeah.
You always say Jersey. Never say New Jersey.
Yeah. Pretty much Jersey.
Okay. Oh yeah, Jersey Shore, best TV show ever, dude.
Another thing that comes out of Jersey, I'm not proud of.
That was honestly that was the best thing TV gave us in a long time. That season one, Jersey Shore. Oh my god, dude, that is entertainment right there. Um. Okay, sound is good. Music is nowhere to be. Oh my god, did they remove the playlist I use from YouTube again? Last time I finally had music, I played that the whole time and then they removed it. Yeah, now the one I usually use is gone as well. Rip, rip. Oh, here it is. It's way lower in the list than usual for some reason. Okay, no. Um, take this down a notch. All right, you good to go?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, let's do it. What can we do? A Buccaneer. Ooh, did you see the rework stuff for Destiny?
Yep, and in all honesty, I'm pretty excited for what's
Mm-hmm.
happening with the Buck.
I guess it
I know
can't
we're
get much
losing
worse,
Super
right?
Saiyan, huh?
Well, kind of the joke is like it can't get much worse because the whole Buck suck thing seems to be pretty prevalent among Buccaneers.
Sadly, yeah. But I mean, I've made Bucks since like a month before Sickness Nights came out, so I've been here for the good and the bad. I
Okay.
just expected there's going to be another wave of good eventually.
Hopefully. Yeah, I hope the theming stays kind of the same. Like, there seem to be very much going for the water serpent kind of deal with all of the jobs, and not just just pull it out for fifth job out of nowhere, and it's your theme. Like you have the one kind of like dragon snaky skill, right? The dragon strike, and
Yeah.
then that's pretty much it. And then suddenly it's like it's all about the dragon. The main question I think that some people were asking in the chat as well. The main question I think is like, what's going to happen to Lord of the Deep with when the energy system is completely gone?
Yeah, I've been in the Buck Discord, and everyone's just kind of guessing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it stays because I love the lazy mobbing, and yeah, I just like the lazy mobbing. I just hope they don't touch that too much.
Take some work to get up to that point, and then once you have it, you can like cruise.
Yeah. Turn my
That's
brain off, have like something on in YouTube where I grind and just
Yep.
keep on going.
Just jump around. Basically, just jumping
Yep,
around and then repopping your energy stuff whenever you need it.
pretty much, yeah.
You do the thing where you never, just to get back into that, you never really let yourself run out of energy, but you never max it out either, right? You still like in between.
Never, are you talking about using like that one purple node to shorten cooldowns? Is that what you mean?
No, I'm talking about like just letting the bar like fill all the way up or letting it all go all the way down. You always want to kind of stay in between, I think.
I never heard of that. I just keep going till the energy runs out, basically.
Okay. And what do you do? Like corkscrew punch, nautilus strike,
Yeah, all that. I mean, that
giant
once you
ball.
one shot, it's rare that even without I think it's called the relentless node.
Mm-hmm.
Even without that, it's rare that I'm out of energy. I don't have enough energy to use Lord of the Deep before one of the other skills pop up that replenishes it.
Wait, so what do you use the relentless node for then? Like, what does that help?
If I remember correctly, I think it cuts down on the cooldown of one of my skills. I think was it my hyper skill? So it just makes it so I can replenish my energy that much faster. I don't quite remember. I never bothered keeping it because as soon as I realized they expire after,
Mm-hmm.
was it 2 weeks or
7 days,
something?
yeah.
I just 7 days. I just dismantle it. I don't even bother with it.
It's pretty expensive in the beginning. Yeah, you don't really you don't really want to rely on it too much. Further down the road,
Yeah.
you know, if you're gonna hard commit to training, you can make the character building and stuff like that. But yeah, early on, nodes are very, very valuable resources, and to throw them into special nodes is most likely not worth it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but through all of that, you're still optimistic and still sticking to Buccaneer. I guess you're a little bit too far invested now to to switch over.
Yeah, I can't imagine having to invest this same amount of time and energy into another character. On
Mm-hmm.
top of I have like the Sengoku badge. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to kind of suck having to main something else that doesn't have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, mainly mentally because you know you'll just focus on other things, but like knowing what could have been or something is never never feels too good.
Yeah, although my second strongest is an Arc and he has the Ghost badge. So
Mhm.
if the revamp was very very bad, I just switched to him full time.
Mm-hmm. What level is this guy at? Like
The
250s?
Buccaneer or the Arc?
The Buccaneer.
243.
243. Okay. All right. And so, what kind of stuff can I help you with? I guess like what's the main reason that you wanted this session?
So I'm at a point where I want to start moving on the hard bosses and eventually when I level up get to Will.
Mm-hmm.
And then just trying to see what I should be prioritizing for gear upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the main thing, just what to prioritize and be ready for hard bosses and then eventually the Tenebrous bosses.
Mm-hmm. And how far have you gotten to that point? Like, have you done regular Lucid?
Yeah, normal Lucid is pretty much a cakewalk at this point.
Yeah.
It's not. I rarely struggle with that, so I figured if that's the case, I could do hard Lucid. I just haven't done the battle analysis to see what my 40-second BA is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I assume it's good enough, right? You're more of a DPM character as a Buck anyway.
Yeah.
You've got, I mean, yeah, because the fourth V is, what is it, 90-second cooldown or 60-second cooldown? It's pretty short, right?
90.
And then the, I guess the big energy balls is like one of the things. That's
Yeah,
like
I
your
know I'm
one big
supposed to-
burst, right?
Yeah, I know I'm supposed to use that for DPS, but I kind of hold on to one, maybe two, in case I need the iframe.
Yeah. Or the energy, but mostly the iframe, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, once
So
the
the
run gets
bosses, the
faster,
energy charges.
go for it.
With bosses, energy charges so fast. It's just hit a few times, you keep lowering the debuff constantly.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're just with Octopunch, right? Just builds it up very quickly? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that also depends on how quick the boss runs are. If they're very fast, you might not need the iframe as much because you just get through the phases much faster. And then phase 2 is pretty easy for Lucid once you get the mechanics down. On normal, the hard is basically the same, I mean, except like don't jump off to dodge lasers because falling off the map is way more punishing on hard than on normal, of course. But the main thing, yeah, you just have the same callouts, the same mechanics, just way more HP, but that's about it.
I kind of got carried through hard Lucid once with my guild, and I might have been like 3 or 4K stat less than what I have, and I managed to make it to the very end. Unfortunately, 2 or 3 people died out, so we couldn't clear. But
yeah, that's the main thing. Right?
Mechanics-wise, I was able to survive.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, yeah. The main thing is having enough damage. So even if it's not, because you don't know exactly if you can do it, it's more to have somewhat of an accurate representation of everyone's BA, so you know if phase 3 is manageable. That's, I guess, the main purpose. And what's your does Buck do anything crazy with crit? Because I see you have 87, but you don't have any in hyper stats. So there's some extra stuff that.
Yeah, we do an additional 20% crit to bosses.
Right. Okay. And then you do like a different link skill setup when you're mobbing kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems perfectly reasonable. And then your IED is there. Okay.
I
let's see.
forgot to update that when I have a my familiar out. That's really like 93 and change with the familiar.
Okay. Is that wait 93 change? So that's with 115%?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I haven't had the best luck with familiars.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it, yeah. Otherwise, you hope for a little bit more there, some boss, or at least a 20 or a 30%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess yeah. So that's the stuff you want to get into. Okay. So we'll look at the requirements. And the last BA was a while ago, right? But if you had to guess, because man, I'm all over the place with like where everyone's BAs are at. So many different classes. Final damage changes were huge, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea on where you would be with the current stat? Would you be like 2 trill or something?
I've never done a BA honestly, but kind of based on what I've seen other people do in Lucid, I would think I'm about 3 trill maybe, but I don't really have a good basis
Maybe other
for that one.
like other Bucks would maybe know, right? Even the Buck Discord, I don't know if they do people share BAs there on like numbers?
Yeah, I think there is a section for that, so I can check that
Yeah,
out.
maybe you can guesstimate a little bit on how high you would expect to be, because that way as well, if you're like way off, you would know if there's something like glaring that you're not seeing or that you're missing out on. I guess speaking of glaring misses, is there any system in the game, I guess, that you feel that isn't like totally clear yet? I mean, I guess you're pretty far into the game, so I would hope that most of them make at least decent sense, but if there's anything I can clarify before we get into the details and the applications of them, and I guess now is a good time to get that clear first.
I would like to think I have a solid understanding of all the systems. I mean, I watch a lot of your progressions, and if there were anything I was unfamiliar with, those tend to help fill it in. I think the thing I was most unfamiliar with was the familiar system, and then I looked at one of your guides recently, and I know it's just kind of an RNG waiting game for that.
Yeah, as long as you know where, what kind of numbers you're going for and what level of familiars you need for that, then, it's mainly that. It's just make a lot of them, reveal them, and hopefully you get what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so your current position, I guess. Okay, you got links and you got hypersets here, so you got 2 setups, one for mobbing, mainly going into critical damage. Yeah. Do you still need the arcane force one? I don't know where
I realize I don't really need it that high. I just kind of want to see how high I can get my arcane.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have trouble killing, then that's fine. But once you have trouble killing or something, maybe some of the tech power out and some of the arcane force out and going into like damage against normal monsters or critical damage instead might make a positive overall.
That actually was one thing I wanted to ask about is it worth investing into attack, or should I take that out and maybe start investing past level 10 for the other ones like crit damage or damage or something?
Yeah, you're probably right at the beginning where that will start becoming worth. Because it's usually fine if you have like 3 or 4 or 5 points extra, you just dump it into attack or into strength, and that's fine. But if both of those are like level 6, 7, or you're thinking about getting level 8 or something, then it's probably about time to reset those points and put them into those other stats instead. Yeah, into percentage damage or boss damage or damage to normal monsters, depending on which preset it is. Usually...
Does the strength for hyperstat scale with percent strength?
No, it doesn't. That's why it's like the last one, like attack, and then if you have like a few points left, sometimes people throw it into strength. But then yeah, every time you level, you can't really put points in anything except again in strength or in attack. So then after a while, once you realize that those get too high, at that point it might be a good idea to kind of just reset them to make sure that you can get more value out of those points.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because it doesn't get multiplied, sadly. Otherwise, it would probably be pretty good, I imagine. Because it's a big chunk, right? It's like, is it 50 per level?
Yeah. I'm looking in the chat. It seems like some people are hyped to see a buck on here. Because it had been a while since I see you do a buck, honestly.
Have we? I think we've done at least one, but yeah, that's got to be a while ago.
Like months.
Yeah, maybe even maybe even 6 months to a year. Like it's
Yeah.
very possibly been a while. Yeah, this is not super popular. I think a lot of people either move to Cannoneer or they go to like Arc or Shade or something, right? Where it's like,
Yeah, I live by the buck. I'll die by the buck at this point.
All right.
I've been playing it for so long.
Corsair best class. I've never seen that sequence of words in my life. I don't think they're bad though.
Yeah, I got it to 200. I'm like, it was fun. I don't need to play this class again.
And they got some flashy 5th job skills, but not every class for everyone. All right, so this is your is this one in your mobbing and one your bossing setup? Yeah.
Yeah, but I forgot empirical knowledge is in the mobbing one. I forgot what I would swap that one out for.
Maybe core aura or something. I don't know how your role is there.
I sometimes use bravado since I might be very close to one-shotting anyway. So I think maybe bravado. No, bravado's in there.
Bravado's in there, yeah. Gift out of battle, elementalism.
Huh.
I think you're probably looking for a flat damage.
Oh, the Cygnus. I think the Cygnus link.
Or maybe Cygnus, yeah. Yeah, Cygnus or Core Aura. It depends on what your role is, right? Core Aura can be better, but only if you spend the money on it.
I have not bothered with that one.
Oh yeah, okay. If you get good value out of it, it can be almost a double Cygnus Blessing. Wait, Cygnus Blessing goes up to 25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Court Aura can go theoretically up to 35 with some secondary.
Oh. Huh.
But for bossing, I would say Cygnus Blessing is definitely better because of the elemental the resistance, right? And like getting stuck on Lotus drops and all of that stuff, or on rocks on Vellum, that's all shorter. So the value there, plus every single boss in this game past a certain point tends to have stuff falling from the from the ceiling that stuns you. So for all of that stuff, Cygnus Blessing is quite nice. That it helps you with that, plus that it also gives you some damage. So double whammy.
My favorite mechanic in the game, and now most bosses have it. That's why I waited doing Magnus for the longest time.
Yeah. Crowd favorite, that one. So you don't really have a different critical rate setup for the two. Does that mean that you're are you compensating with your Legion grid maybe?
Yeah, you say critical damage or critical rate?
Critical rate, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I switch when mobbing, I don't think I sent you my mobbing Legion, but mobbing I have max crit. When bossing, I barely have any crit.
Right, okay, makes sense.
Legion.
Yeah, you just have the one to make the turn.
Yeah.
Your Legion's coming along quite nicely. So you do at least slightly enjoy playing other classes, I hope. You got a bunch of 200s in there.
Yeah, I enjoy trying out different classes, seeing how they work. I think I've played the game so long, I've touched every class by now. Now I'm at a point where I'm trying to see which ones do I like enough to make a bossing mule.
You have a list of that? Like the Arc sounds like you wanted to make that one into one at least?
That one can do up to party low medium.
Okay.
Then Cannon Shooter is up there. Then I'm going to burn a hero this week. And then I'm trying to decide if I have one more fake Abso to use. So I think I'm going to put that on another mule. This is another question I had. If a character can already get Fafnir gear, is it worth giving them Abso, or should I save that for another character that doesn't have any of that? Like, is that enough of a upgrade from a Fafnir weapon to, let's say, put it on the hero? Or should I save that for another character?
Yeah, honestly, it depends on how much money you want to spend. If your character is trying to be a bossing mule and do up to like Lotus and Damien solo at like a reasonable speed, not taking like 25 minutes for every run, of course, then like a fake Zalab is good enough, and that'll make it so that you don't have to spend any money. If you feel like you still need the extra help to get to 200 on some characters, and you kind of like run out all of the characters you enjoy getting to 200, and you don't want to infinitely wait until Terra burns until they get everything to 200, then you might want to get a Figs Lab on those characters to drag them over. But otherwise, I would prioritize them on like a bossing mule. And if that bossing mule can already get Fafnir, You could definitely make the regular Fafnir, even just like at 17 star, as strong or stronger than the Fake Lab because of the potential and getting percentage attack from it. But of course, that requires the financial incentive. That's probably like, I don't know, it's probably like 1.5 to 2 bill of investment, right? So that's probably like the value of the Fake Lab weapon, where you can choose to have that or not.
So basically, if I'm willing to put like another 2 bill on the character, it's okay not putting the fake Absol on it.
Yeah, you have the set bonus as well, right? Like you're losing the set bonus. That's an extra 30% boss. So I
Yeah.
feel like that pretty much compensates, or maybe even compensates more than like the potential gain on the Abzo for the base attack. But you have to like include the flame in there. So that's probably, even with the extra flame and with the damage, it's probably still a little bit better to have the 30% boss. So if you're willing to spend a little bit of the money, you could also say like, I'm gonna get it to unique, and if I get like 2-line attack on unique, that's probably about the same level if it's 17 stars as the Fake Lab because of the set bonus, if you can already get the full Fafnir CRA set on the main character. So I mostly put it on characters who need like that additional bump first to even get to clearing CRA, and then use it then to as the weapon the whole way through, and then not invest into a Fafnir if they already have the Fake Lab. But otherwise, yeah, just probably upgrade the Fake Lab, because the great thing about having the Fafnir and the other characters is also, if you're not really pushing yet for the you can always use the events, right? So you can also save money that way.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, with the Fake Lab, it's only flaming, so there's no events for that.
Yeah. And that's the case. I think I'll just use it for a bossing mule, which might be Ice Lightning at this point. Most of the characters I really enjoy are already at a higher level anyway.
Ice Lightning was surprisingly strong.
Lightning.
Yeah, pretty enjoyable.
Yeah,
Pretty strong.
I saw your video on that one for CRA.
Yeah, Project CRA. The only downside was the hitbox of, like, the lightning is really cool, but the hitbox was a little bit weird. So that was one to get used to.
You're talking about the hyper, where you have to keep them in the corner, or another lightning? Not the hyper, the fifth job.
Well, so you don't want to keep them too close to the corner, because they don't actually hit all the way in the corner. So you want to keep them a little bit away from the corner. So for like Crimson Queen, it's pretty, she has like a wide skirt, let's say, so that one is pretty easy to hit from that far away. But one time she put like a mirror in the corner, and I threw the lightning out to kill the mirror, but it didn't actually hit the mirror because it was too close to the corner and had too small of a hitbox, and the lightning kind of stopped short. So that was the one thing I was like, oh, but yeah, you kind of just, that's one mistake you make one time and then never again, because the mirror is, of course, the very annoying part of the mechanics that you don't want to have to deal with too much if it's not absolutely necessary. But yeah, it was surprisingly strong. So I think as a bossing mule, definitely has a lot of potential. Plus, if you really enjoy it, training-wise, should also have a very easy time in gaining more levels. If for some reason, if the CRA crystal goes down so much in value that it doesn't make much sense to keep the character at that level, but you want to push it further, it should be a character that, with not too crazy of funding, also is able to level up to the next milestone or the next benchmark pretty easily.
Do we know how severe that crystal change might be? Because it increases by 5 times the value, but then might get tweaked down depending on how easy it is for people to clear it.
Yeah, so our current value is 3x of a non-reboot, so it's going to 5x. So it's gonna, plus 60%, I think, of or plus 40% of the current plus 60% of the current value. Wait, hang on, 16300. 180, no, a little bit more, plus 66% of the current value, whatever. 2/3 of the current value added to it, and then from there on, it's going to be adjusted by, I believe it was 3% down or up, depending on how many people are killing it. But I don't know those numbers because that was based on like non-reboot economy. So we'll have to see how for GMS reboot that's gonna turn up. From what I heard in KMS, is that basically the value of all the lower level bosses all like slowly went down and kept going down. Still at a higher point than what they were before. Like, so almost 6 months in, it seems like they're all still worth more than what they were before the change. But they're steadily going down. Everything up until Lotus and Damien, basically. Lotus and Damien staying roughly the same. The only one that went up before that point was CPAP. Because it's just, more of a mechanic skill and less of like, more of a burst skill or a mechanic skill around the lower levels. So just a lot of people kind of don't bother with that one in the whole rotation. So I'm imagining that Akachi, maybe that gets forgotten by some people, or maybe people don't want to do it pre-quest. And then CPAP, I'm guessing that those are going to be worth a lot if you can do those on a bossing mule. They're already like 150 mil, right? So if that's going up to like 250 mil, plus possibly going up, and you're looking at like, should be pretty quickly something close to like 300 mil a week just for doing those 2 bosses. So that sounds like that would be nice.
Okay. So overall, it should still be more mesos I'm getting from them.
Yeah. Unless it becomes a lot more, because then a lot of people will be doing it, and then it should self-adjust again to make sure that it doesn't become anything too crazy, right? Because if it's like, oh, you just do bosses for 10 minutes and you can get a bill, then everyone will do that on other characters, and that'll bring down the value. So hopefully it just gets to some kind of equilibrium where it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think right now it's already good, you know, if you have a pretty strong character, maybe a little bit stronger than your buck, but if you can do like all of the bosses, including Lotus and Damien, like up until there in like half an hour, in a half-hour coupon, you're already making like, I just did it on my hero, right, like around 950 mil in half an hour. Like, you know, that's by far like really good rates that you can make, way better than any training. But you can only do it half an hour in a week, right? So there's the limitation for it. But I think the main thing is going to be to figure out like the 180 crystals a week, and hopefully that connected to how many characters you have, to what makes sense to which bosses you do. And if some values do like go way down, you can always choose to like not do a certain boss and then do another difficulty boss on another character instead to kind of like compensate. The current list of KMS values. Oh, somebody just linked it.
Oh, neat.
Easy Zakum. Easy and normal Zakum. That's like the max. The max down is minus 15.18%. Oh, 15.1. It's pretty similar. Oh, this is just a rounding thing probably. So minus 31.15%. So we're down by a third.
Non-reboot price?
I would guess it is reboot. Oh,
yeah, those are kind of
low
yeah. For...
Yeah. It's regular. And then weekly bosses reboot. Here we go. Minus 31%. Oh yeah, Populus went up a little bit, but yeah, let's see, it's sitting at 133 mil for the crystal. And then Verisilla is still at 40, and right now we have it at 30% down when it's 5x, so minus 1.5, so then it's still 3.5 times, and now it's 3 times, yeah, so it's still 1/6 more than now, so it's still 16% more. Black Mage Crystal up 157%. Yeah, I'm guessing that in terms of the total population, not too many people doing that.
I'll definitely add that to my weekly rotation.
It's up. Wait, where's the Black Mage? Oh, monthly boss. Oh, here you go. Up 157%. Yeah. So instead of the 500 mil base price, is 1.3 bill. So this is worth for some people to actually solo, right? I mean, it's a monthly, but it's basically.
Again, if you're at that level, is a 1 bill that much of a game changer?
I don't know. Some people can probably do like under half-hour solos. If you're trying to make money, you know, you don't really need the runs for anything. Making like 1.3 bill in half an hour, it's a nice juice. But it's a monthly, right? So it's about taking 20 to 30 minutes in a month. That's probably worth it. Oh wait, that was in the... Never mind, sorry. That was in non-reboot. Reboot is 6.4 bill. My bad. I was gonna say like
never mind.
I was gonna say 500 mil for base price. That sounds actually really low. It's got to be more than that because it's already a bill. Is it 1.5 bill now? Yeah, 1.5 bill now. It's going to 2.5 bill base, and then with the increases now it's 6.4 bill. Yeah.
That's definitely worth it.
Yeah, that's a little different. Yeah. Because it's the same percentage increase, but it's like a way bigger starting amount, so it becomes something quite crazy. Yeah, so it looks like the weekly bosses are down, yeah, except for Papalatus, all the way up until Lotus, and then Lotus and Damien are up about 4%, almost 5%. The hard Lotus and hard Damien, which hopefully you'll move into that soon, is up by 50%. It looks like. So even if you 5-man that, it's still 110 mil, 112 mil per person, which is basically what normal is right now if you're soloing, I think, right? So that's worth switching into, plus chances of Berserk and Eye Patch. So hopefully you can get a party, because you don't have a static party right now for Lotus, for Lucid, Will, or these, right?
No, I just respond to the Smegas.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because hopefully you can do Hopefully you can do all of those in like the same party. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Guardian Angel Slime. Even normal slime is up 33.5%. Hard is up
I
almost
have not
60%.
tried that one yet.
It's, yeah, you could just do practice mode and kind of see what it's all about. It takes a little bit getting used to and to kind of find what is the safe distance away from him. Of course, it's not one of those bosses where you don't want to be too close. Yay, Buccaneers. Of course, not quite up your wheelhouse.
Kind of like a battle mage.
Yeah, almost, yeah. Will is up quite a bit. Gloom. Yeah, these are up a lot. I guess in a way it makes sense, right? Because I think if everyone looked at the value of the higher boss, of the crystals of the higher level bosses, a lot of times it didn't make sense that the value was that low comparative to the lower bosses. Because it's like, oh, you could just do CRA on 2 characters and you get the same amount as someone who is like doing Varus Hilla. It's like, it doesn't feel fair. So if those numbers go down and Varus Hilla goes up, then that makes more sense in... And hopefully it promotes as well for some people to keep leveling and keep going to the higher level bosses, because that incentive will be there as well of that payout being quite a bit higher. Buck, you mean Mojang? Yeah, I kind of had that idea when I saw the kit and everything. Is that they were almost trying to make it like more kind of like the Mojang. I don't know if you've seen that class.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I've seen that class. I actually like the looks of that class. If we turn more into that, I'm not necessarily mad.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing either. It's just as like an observation, it almost seems like they're going a little bit more to like the Tai Chi, you know, be like water kind of thing, rather than the I punch things and then and then they die angle. Okay, yeah, but Legion is looking good, looking steady. Yeah, for boss crystals, just remember the 180, I guess, just to reiterate. Don't be like, I'm going to make 15 bossing mules, because then that's probably not going to pay out super well. Unless you want to just do bosses all day, every day.
Lately, after realizing how much of a pain it is to grind past 240, bossing is definitely the thing I like doing the most.
Okay.
So, not out the realm.
Oh, when it comes down to totems and everything, how are you with that?
Now, this is, at this point in time, over the last 2 or 3 months, I happen to have more time to play MapleStory because I'm switching industries. But I imagine once I'm back at work, I'm not going to really go through the totems like that. It does help that they made the Maple Point changes, so I might use them more on mules or something.
Yep. You're doing like a lot of training now as well then for a new job, or what?
Say it again.
Well, you say you're switching industries. Are you doing like a lot of training as well? But make it sound like you have a lot of free time. I would think that like switching industries would like make it so that you had less time because of like training and stuff like that.
No, I left my previous jobs, and I'm going to be switching to software engineering. So because of that, I have more of a. I'm not as exhausted once I'm done doing all of that.
Right.
So I can put more time to playing MapleStory.
To hobbies in general, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
not
good.
not just MapleStory. Because once I do a 2-hour session, I don't want to look at the game for a while.
Like that's enough chibi characters bopping around on my screen for one day. Yeah. It's good to have a healthy balance in all the things that we do. Okay. Yeah, I assume you know all of your hyperstats and all of that very well. I don't know if you have any questions for VMatrix.
No, and especially because we don't know what new nodes we're going to get.
Yeah.
I'm probably just going to be stacking node stones from now till
Mm-hmm.
either unless Tespia says otherwise, from now until the summer.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's almost hard to see which skill is which because they're all kind of just like a blue snake. Just realized.
Yeah.
Wait, the top left is Lord of the Deep, and then the middle one is the iframe, and then the right one is the iframe.
The right one is the burst / iframe. Middle one is the movement skill.
Oh yeah, the zigzag with the stacks, right? Yeah.
Which has actually saved me a few times with Lucid Breath, with Dragon Breath and Lucid.
Wait, so is this the mobbing setup or the bossing setup?
That is the bossing.
Okay. I guess you don't need rope lift on all of them, so then you can switch that out for something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth using the will skill.
There's definitely some scenarios where it's valuable, but not blanketly for every one of them. Definitely not. I guess, yeah, overdrive gets good once you're like Abzo and higher, specifically when you're arcane, right? Because of the scaling.
Yeah, I should have my arcane in about 2 weeks. So
Okay.
once I get that, I think I'll probably be using that skill more.
Exactly how big of an impact is combat orders at this stage on you?
I honestly don't think it's that big of an impact. I just like that I can stick it on a pet and kind of forget about it instead of having to monitor the cooldown.
Because I think if you're trying to optimize bossing damage, well, level 1 overdrive is honestly not that important, but like the True Reckoner Reflection, even at level 5, usually does a decent chunk of damage. Or the Pirate Flag can be useful as well because of like the ID reduction plus the extra stat for you and the party. And I think it gives you knockdown resistance on summon as well.
Wait. Oh, the moment you summon it gets knocked down.
Although I've been knocked out of it before, so I don't know how great, maybe how ping reliant it is, but I've been like mid summon and getting knocked around by like H-Mag, so it didn't seem to work perfectly for me. But you know, in terms of utility when compared to combat orders, because I know eventually you do go into combat orders, but I don't know if at this point it's like strong enough to throw in there. Might be that the utility for the other, and the Pirate Flag is also party buff, right? So definitely if you're doing like party bosses, that one might be more important. Like if you're doing Lucid, you put the flag on top of Lucid, especially in phase 1, everyone around it getting more damage, debuffing the boss.
Yeah.
And I think if you get it maxed, that the flag is 100% uptime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. I think 60 uptime, 60 cooldown.
Yeah, and yeah, Rectal Reflection is just really strong even at low level by itself. Does a lot of damage. So there could also be something if you're doing BAs that you kind of experiment with, right? Like one setup over the other one. See if you see a significant difference. And of course, of course you don't use rope lift at all in phase 1 for Lucid. For phase 2, I know a lot of people use it, but I would only use it if I really need to use a slot for it. Typically, I would just go without it. Because you do have your zigzag, right, that you can use to get on top of the map pretty quickly. So it's not...
Yeah, I probably could do without that.
Yeah, it just depends on if it's a big difference, right? If you do the BA and it's like not really that big of a difference, then you just go for the utility instead because it just feels better. But if it is a significant difference, then you can make the decision based on the numbers of like, okay, we're all kind of like short for damage. We want to make sure that we have some extra breathing room, so I'm going to push a little bit harder on the damage. And then maybe stay on the bottom, you know, pop an iframe if I need to, kind of thing. When the dragon is, instead of all rushing to the top. Because that's the thing in the beginning as well, is that people are pretty careful with the bosses in the beginning, and you lose damage from there as well. Because if you call like dragon in phase 2 and everyone just rushes to the top immediately, you're losing a lot of damage when people have time to be hitting the boss. So that could be a thing that you just learn to get more confident with as well, depending on what party you have. Yeah, these are the... yeah, I'm assuming you have the right boost nodes. I mean, I'm not gonna... Must feel weird double checking you on that.
Yeah, I know. Those are the main skills I need to boost. I have too many Octa Punches and Buck Blasts, but
right, yeah.
Spiral Assault is not that big of a deal if I boost.
Power Unity is a bit more important, I think.
That gives my crit damage buff. That's more important for the buff than the damage it does.
Okay. I thought it did like a decent amount of lines too. Or is that not?
What does that do? I think that does 5 lines.
Oh, okay. That's not that
6 maybe?
I thought it was
not
like
that many.
I thought it was like 8 or 10 or something. But I guess, you know.
You might be thinking of Dragon Strike. That one does 12.
Yeah, that one I remember old Dragon Strike where that was like your main mobbing skill. Yeah. You would spam it. And then when it changed, like the cooldown and the numbers just they go to the moon, yeah. And then it's a debuff, right?
Yep, they think it gives a, what was that, 10% final damage buff?
Yeah, but only for you. Even though the description looks like it could be for everyone, but it's not. Sadly. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd be like a support pirate. Hell yeah. You'd be like a contending with mech or something. Which I don't think that would be outlandish if they gave that to Buck, honestly. You know, to give like a boss debuff like that. I mean, you have the Pirate Flag, but then I mean you have Time Leap, right? But that used to be like really broken in some aspects. But now, what do you really Time Leap that's like valuable?
The only thing I can think of is maybe the hero's will.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that gets timely because does it even work on hyper skills at this point?
Time Leap resets like I think they don't work on hypers, don't work on fifth jobs, and don't work on anything that specifically said that it cannot be cooldown skipped. So you're left with very little after all.
If we lose that during the revamp, I won't cry.
Mm-hmm. If you get something cool, you know, not like one that resets, that has like a low chance of resetting some things, but more like redoing how the whole reset thing works and just give everything like a 10-second or like a 10% cooldown skip or something, or like a 10% of the current cooldown loss, but working on everything. That'd be way cooler, I think, than like an RNG, like either it's all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah, because I remember a time when Bucks were wanted for the speed infusion.
Oh yeah, true.
And now everyone has that. It's kind of forgotten. So it'd be kind of nice for people to want Buck for a little bit of support again.
I mean, we want to be wanted for something. If it's not the DPM, if it's not the DPS, if it's not, please let me in to the boss fights. Yeah, because now your only ticket in there is like knowing the boss mechanics, like experience and doing the call outs maybe. Especially if parties are new, and just, you know, the numbers of on the BA. The Curring? Yeah, you could probably have a chance to reset your Curring, right? Because that's a skill that you get on in your beginner tab. So that's one thing that can be reset, like your Rosu was.
Oh, that's possible.
Why does he have 4 trios? Are we supposed to be doing that? I'm not sure if some people do a 3 boost node setup and then don't do the spiral assault. Maybe. I don't know.
My V Matrix was very bad before. In like recent months, I've been tuning it up. So once I level up more tri nodes, I'll be able to take one away.
No, it looks like people go for 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Some bucks. I know some bucks have 3. Going off of the Discord. Oh. Yeah.
I would assume that you could be okay with like just 2 total boost nodes for a while. If you have like Bug Blast, Octopunch, and Power Unity, if you have that, you can probably get pretty far in the game too, right? Because Dragon Strike is cooldown, Nautilus Strike is pretty cool, big cooldown, Spiral Assault is not as big. Maybe if you only have like 2 out of 3 boost nodes with just Octopunch and Bug Blast, you're gonna already do quite well. Because you're mainly skill node reliant, right? Because of Lord of the Deep in the beginning anyway.
Yeah, so what I heard is the additional hits you get from Nautilus Strike, the boost nodes do work on that.
On the additional hits from Nautilus? Oh, because it like does damage when it's on cooldown? Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Aren't the OG skills still better than decents? Yeah, but people basically set up their accounts to be at the caps with their decents. So, you know, if someone has decent speed infusion and there's a Buccaneer in the party, sure, they can switch out their boost node for their skill node for something else. But a lot of times it's like it'll be like node number 14 or 15 or 16, which the like marginal gains on switching that one usually is pretty minor. So it's just like a little, you know, like if you have decent sharp eyes to get to 100% crit rate, and then you have an archer in your party, you're like, oh, I can get rid of sharp eyes. And that's like, oh, now I can gain like 2 or 3% final damage. But it's not like you're gaining 10% final damage, you know? Like if the dragon was a debuff, that would be a 10% debuff plus the boost. And then it would be like, oh, we want to get a Buccaneer in the party because actually it's substantial, right? So that would be a bigger motivator to get to get Buccaneers some more playtime. Okay, arcane symbols seem to be going well, and then we have all of your equips. Do you have a full separated mobbing and bossing setup with accessories?
Yes.
Because you don't have a kind of farmer, right, on the account?
No, I never wanted to do that.
So you have the 5 meso a 4-drop situation, or do you have some double?
I have my Sweetwater
double.
Monocle.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get stat on that, but then I rolled 2 lines Mesas. I was like, I guess I'll keep this for a while.
I guess we'll keep that.
So
Yeah.
I have with that I have I think I have 5 drop now, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you fill up the rest of the slots, you'll end up with 5/5. Yeah. And are some of the pieces still hybrid, or is it specifically exclusive now?
Well, what do you mean?
Like, is every piece either drop or either mezzo when it comes? Oh, sorry, either drop or mezzo or damage when it comes to the accessories, or is there still some overlap?
I think my the condensed power crystal I think stays consistent. I think that's the only thing that doesn't change. But aside from that, all my accessories swap out when I'm training.
Oh, okay. So that's one piece that you don't have. That you don't have drop or mezzo on.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you're probably on 5 mezzo and 4 drop still then, right? Because
Oh yeah, that's probably
then
it,
you're
yeah.
on 8 accessories. Let's see, because
Yeah.
you have the double. Do. So you've got the pendant is mezzo, these 2 pendants, the eye, and then the drop 1.
I also just found out recently that Monster Park necklace,
Mm-hmm.
that drop rate only works on equipment.
Yep. Yeah, that's why you don't see it in your stat window when you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have 4 drop and 4 drop. Oh, yeah. I got 4 drop and I guess you have the condensed power crystal in there twice. One says drop gear and one says damage gear. Now I see.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's totally what you were doing, right? Because you were trying to fill up the sets both times. For 6, yeah. So you haven't really, yeah. I guess that's kind of a blessing in disguise because you got a really nice flame on the black beam mark, so it wasn't really necessary to get the other one to damage, right? You can use a black beam mark for damage quite a while. So what's your approach with the dinero, with the ship and everything? Are you leveling up the boat or?
I have been so lazy when it comes to doing that content because it's just so boring to me. But I'm trying to make a push to get to the Dreadnought. I'm level 9 right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to get the Dreadnought
it's
fairly
expensive.
soon. And,
it's 500 dineros. You have that?
Yeah. And then I'm going to try to replace that condensed power crystal and then turn that into drop gear.
Okay, so that's 1 extra line of drop. Then we get to 5/5. And what's your ring situation right now?
For drop or for damage?
For damage, yeah. The drop seems pretty taken care of. You got a reinforced and then a superior, I'm guessing.
Yeah, superior, reinforced, Kana, and the reboot wake ring for damage.
I see, yeah. At 18, okay. And 21 on the superior. Yeah. So I guess taking risk on Starforce seems to be... That's the... Oof, that cup, dude. Jesus.
I'm very proud of that. I got that fresh off of Pink Bean.
Nice. Yeah, Pink Bean's got some nice drops sometimes. The one I have on my Marksman was the very first run, the very first drop, and I'm still using it. It's like 40... I think it's 48 strength, 40 dex, and 7 all. It's not like the best in the game, but that's like good enough to not really have to spend any money for a long ass time. But yeah, 88 and 5 off the drop. That's never touch again. Move to next thing.
Never.
You see array flames are also really nice. The top and the bottom, those are really solid.
That big compensation we had helped get a lot of these things up to par.
Did you get a lot out of that?
Yeah. My flames were kind of mediocre before that, but I'm pretty happy with all of them.
Yeah.
Well, most of them at this point.
Yeah, 68 and 5. What was the other one? 116? 64 and 5? Yeah.
Oh, that Pat mark, I got that on my 3rd ever run on Pop, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that.
It's just good to have sitting so that if there is any kind of event, you can always have it as one of the options to work on. And you know, if the flames of everything are okay and you don't have anything to flame, you can always use your spare flames on this without feeling like it's going to waste. So It's you know, it only takes one good flame, you know. So take as many attempts as you can on this thing, because yeah.
Should I say that just for transposing? Because I have the black beam mark. I have the Oh wait, no, I already have a seven.
Yeah, you got the damage black beam mark.
Monocle 16 or 17 star?
16 it looks like here. Because I thought at 16, so I was like, I didn't know if you star forced it one time after transposing, but judging by the numbers, you didn't. Yeah, Monocle's at 16. Like the monolith is just exclusively for Mezzo, and that's totally fine. What's probably going to happen is that you just keep the current setup. You try to go for 16 and like good flame, you know, 105 plus 115ish, whatever, how you want to go. And then transpose when it makes sense, which is probably not super far away, but the main thing first is to get the boat right and to get back into earning the dineros. And then you'll probably just redo the bean mark for drop rate, because it's already legendary, and then you can have like a Mezzo plus drop rate set, a full drop rate set, and a damage set. Ultimately, so that you can do, like, you know, if you're doing weekly bosses, you just go into full drop rate set, because obviously they don't drop Mezzo, but you want to get Kana rings, you want to get Dominator pendants, primals, you know, that kind of stuff. So then you want to make like one full, hopefully up to 10 lines of drop rate set, so that you can hit that 200% cap when you're doing bosses. What in the hell is that cup? Yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
I'm looking.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of that.
There's better ones out there, but this is definitely like top
I honestly
shelf.
thought I had the best until, you know, those Smegas where people do the cup checks.
Oh,
I
yeah,
finally
I've seen
found
like
one or two that they're a little bit better than me.
I think I saw 92 and 6 or something. There's some disgusting ones, but this is like, yeah, you know, that's like echelons of disgusting for 99% of people to look at, regardless. Like it's in the same group, same category.
Yeah.
So you're getting the weapons soon, you said, right?
Yeah, I should be able to get that 2 weeks.
And you have 3 secondaries?
Yeah, so I think I was just messing around with one of the I was lazy with getting the Princess No secondary. I just recently got that, and with the DMT I decided to get that the legendary. But then I randomly rolled the other secondary that had the, I think, 2 lines boss, 1 line IED, and I don't know what to do with that. Cause I tried testing it out on bosses. I do less damage with that. But I don't know if I change my setup at some point, will that end up being the best damage dealer.
It probably depends on how much percentage attack you end up getting on your weapon and your emblem, but I don't think you eventually need any IED lines, right? On your WC, I think you're, you know, once the familiars are on the level and, you know, Legion is fully on board, all the high level links, etc., like you're pretty close to those last two, but like the familiars, I guess, are the main thing, where if you don't hit boss damage familiars, excuse me, and you put IED familiars in instead, then you definitely just want to go full out percentage attack and boss damage on the entire WSE. If you do end up getting bossing familiars, then I don't know if eventually maybe 1 line of IED is good, but that's something specific for like the bug Discord, where they will know, you know, there's number crunching enough going on there.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I think just before this the session started, they were going into that. They were saying like 8 line attack, 1 line boss is the best setup, or full 9 line attack.
Still, yeah, because I noticed between the buffs and the unbuffed, you do gain quite some percentage damage. That's also because of the dice roll, right? If you get lucky on the dice roll, then that difference is even bigger.
Yeah, that was I'm pretty sure that was a 1-5 there.
Yeah, just a single 5 roll. And there's no shenanigans with your critical damage, right? Because I know for Hayato's, the critical damage is like really weird on how it works.
No, it's just with our hyper, I think that's additional 40 crit, so it's a pretty... Are you saying shenanigans like how consistent it is?
No, like Hayato has like the thing where they turn defense into final damage. But it's not represented as final damage. It's shown as... God, it's something weird. It's like shown as percentage damage, but then calculated as critical damage or something. It's like all over the place.
I'm pretty sure Bucks don't have anything strange like that.
Yeah, no. It's just like a non-KMS thing, I hope. where they kind of like mess things up. So 115. So they're really saying that 8 and 1 or even 9 flat was still bad. Okay, huh? Interesting. And that's considering having 20 boss in the invulnerability.
Yeah, I know I need to try to get 20 boss for invulnerability, but I don't think I'm going to touch that for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much better 12% bosses than a 27 attack you have. Knuckle base attack is not very good, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, eventually it'll probably be worth, but you know that's that whole move is just a lot of honor experience, so it's probably a good idea to just kind of sit on what you have. It's not terrible, yeah. So I probably just stick to that until you have way more liberties you can take with that. It's got some droplets. Oh, it's in 2 weeks because you can buy more from the shop. Is that why?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just need 2 weeks of boss drops to be able to afford it from the. Well, I guess you have the Lucid shop, but it's like 2 weeks for the money, right?
Yeah, I make a roughly Well, since my Demon Slayer and Lara are bossing level, I think I make roughly 2 bill a week just off of bosses. So that should be enough for me to buy the rest of the droplets.
Okay. Did you recently buy Superior drop? Because you seem not to have that many Golux coins. Did you recently buy the pendant?
Oh yeah, I just bought the. Yeah, I think I just bought the pendant. I bought the pendant when I realized the Monster Park drop doesn't work on everything. So I was thinking maybe turn that into a boss drop. Well, not boss, a drop gear. Or use it as a safety net if I decide to hire Star Force the current superior.
Yeah, because yeah, it kind of depends on how you're going about things. But it's usually a good idea to keep your coins as coins and not put them into resources, or even if something goes into coins, keep them as those resources. Like the more base the resources are, the more versatile their application, right? Like if you have a bunch of if you have a bunch of droplets, some people turn the droplets into coins immediately, but then you're stuck on either having Lucid or Will coins, and then if you get that drop, then it feels bad. And then if you hadn't done the thing already, then you could have bought the other piece, right, from the other shop in the same way. Because like right now, what if you get super lucky on the Superior Pendant and you actually never end up needing one? Then the other one is kind of sitting in your inventory. That in itself is not that bad, but then it's going to feel like, this could have been an extra Superior, right? And then you kind of like setting that progress because they're sharing the resource. So I would say like suboptimal decision making, but like it's not the end of the world. I'm not trying to like, you know, pour salt and like kick you or something, but like it just as a general rule is probably better if there's no rush there, right? No immediate like I want to upgrade this because it needs to fill that slot. Because generally what I would say is a really good slot filler. Because for drop you can keep the greed pendant, that's fine. But for like a second damage pendant, what are you using now there?
I think that's a reinforced.
Reinforced, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah. So yeah, so this one is also fine. For later, what some people would use is if they get a second dominator or something, because of the flame advantage, right, over the reinforced, plus maybe some boss accessory set bonus shenanigans going on. That'll usually carry it higher than the reinforced. But if you already have a legendary and it's already at this point, it's probably not super necessary to work on that. And I would just keep the pendant as a backup. Because eventually, you know, there's a big sweet spot in getting things to 21 stars, which means that the superiors usually end up at 20 because you're doing 21 stars, lower level items, right? Fodder, and then transfer hammering them over. And then you're left with the 20-star superior that has to have the potential redone. And it's always going to be like up to you, you know, up to the player's discretion is, do you want to have the 20-star or do you want to try to bump it from 20 to 21 again? And then it's really good to have that backup, of course, because if it does boom, you'll at least have the backup to go back to so that you can keep the set bonus, which is, of course, very important for Superior. So, you know, it'll come in handy to have as a backup, but what if the 20 to 21 works on the first one? Then it's kind of sitting in your inventory.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. You know, eventually, you know, you'll go for like a bunch of dominators, transfer into Superior, and then transfer the Superior into your source of suffering. So eventually you might still need it. You know, there's always a contingency plan there. So again, not the end of the world. But that's the main reason why Dominators are a super valuable resource, right? So go for that as much as possible. Kind of treasure rings, you know, for your own kind of treasuring and for transferring into the Superior. And then for earrings, you want to get as many reinforced as possible. So hopefully you're holding on to those. And Superiors, of course, if you find those. And then for the belts, you know, you can do pretty much any belt. You can do reinforced belts, pink bean belts. That's all not too bad. So for those items, you definitely don't want to push too far on the potential because it's gonna have to be redone anyway. And then the main jump, like the main next upgrades that you can make is definitely like start forcing the CRA beyond their current point, because I imagine the amount of backups you have there is probably pretty crazy.
Yeah. So okay, so that's kind of what I figured. So as far as star forcing or big upgrades go, focus on the CRA.
Yeah, and I would say like as far as all upgrades go, because okay, it's probably also about the point where you want to see, so that'll probably be the big upgrades right now. So the arcane weapon, CRA past the current point, probably like definitely like up to 18, up to 19. You can do it like evenly up because you're probably not super hunting for damage, but it would be a nice icing on the cake and a nice extra bonus to make it easier to get into a hard boss party, right? And then eventually 21, but that might not be a single move, right? It might be a move from 17 to 19 first, save up money again, then 19 to 21 another one. Because all of your potentials are like at the point where if you want to improve, you have to commit serious amounts of money, but I wouldn't commit them at this current stage. It would be all Star Force at this point. And then the arcane weapon and then the CRA stuff, and then the third thing to work on, I would say, would be the flames on and the Star Force on a Dominator Pennant and on a Pat Mark, and getting those up to 16 and getting those prepped and slowly ready for when you have the narrows to be able to buy the accessories, and then bump them up to 17 when the 5, 10, 15 hits, and redoing their potentials, because those level 160 tiers and their accessories are usually very financially efficient on giving you a lot of stat for not too much money. Plus they'll have bossing flames, and they'll, you know, together with the superior set, they make like for like a really, really good combination of damage. And then you can redo the black beam mark for drop rate.
Okay.
Those will be like the next big upgrades, I think, to make. And then it's all going to be, you know, if you get a arcane drop, then, you know, that's going on the table. But until then, it's mainly going to be building. The one item you can work on the potential is maybe the heart, I guess, because, you know, heart and badge are the ones that are the easiest to roll good stats on. So if there's any,
I got frustrated with that heart because I put a decent amount of cubes into that, and that's the best line I could get for a while.
I had it on one character as well, yeah. One roll like 30, like it was nothing, and then the other one just, 18 was like the best in billions, and it's like, okay, well, you just go fuck yourself then. I'll just work on something else. If you don't want to go, you know, I'll find something else. Thank you, Tiny, for the 14. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how either, but thank you for the 14. I appreciate it. Yeah, because all the other stuff is like you don't want to overcommit. The one situation that we do want to figure out is like the secondaries and everything with the IED, right? Do you gain a lot of functional IED as a Buccaneer? Because I haven't played Buccaneer at all.
We have that very stupid skill where we get 100% 40% of the time.
40% of the time, yeah. So you can't really count on that for anything, but you do have to kind of keep that in the back of your head. And I guess if you're doing, you know, it's more reliable. Like, let's say that all of your damage was coming from Lord of the Deep, then you could pretty much count it because it's like a constant stream of damage. If it was like a, you know, like a constant hurricane, like the more constant your damage is, the more reliant it is. But yeah, of course, at this point, because then we could just say like, oh, 40% of the time, 100%. So it's basically like a 40%. But at this point, you can't say that, sadly. So, and is that the only thing other than like boost nodes, Explorer Mage?
Yeah, we have no base IED.
Oh wow!
Aside from that one skill,
but even
something I'm really hoping gets addressed.
Not even hyper skills.
Aside from like I think Octopunch gets 20% IED.
Okay, that's something. Because what? Oh yeah, you haven't done really BAs yet. Because that's another thing to do, right? When you do BA, it's also a good thing to see like what % of my damage is coming from which skills.
We don't. Octopunch doesn't get IED, so no.
Does it have built in? Maybe. Because you have the.
Looking...
Oh, the 7. Is there still a 7 dice roll? Yeah, that adds IED, I think, right?
It does, but from all the setups I've looked up online, nothing recommends
No, I
using
don't.
that 7th dice roll.
I don't think so either. I don't
So
think.
yeah, we really don't have any base IED
You have 20
aside from like
damage,
boost move.
plus damage, 1 attack. Bug blast. Yeah, if there were like presets on the hyper stats, then maybe you could do. So what do you do now? You just full Octo Punch and then 2 of the Bug Blasts?
Yeah. It's technically I'm not even supposed to go that hard into Bug Blast. I'm supposed to go into
Yeah, like double down enhance.
one of those, but I do the Bug Blast because previously I kind of needed Bug Blast to help one shot.
Mm-hmm.
So
It depends on the maps you're
probably
in,
reset
right?
that now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I guess on average the double down enhance is pretty nice if you get more 5s. The 4s are not really relevant. The 6s aren't relevant. I mean, the 6 is relevant when you're training, right? But the 5s are definitely relevant when you're bossing. Yeah, it's just so satisfying to see like a 555 because that's.
Oh yeah.
Is that 40% damage?
40, yeah, 40. 'Cause I think you lose a little bit for each additional dice.
Yeah, yeah. I think the extra on top of 1 is half the effect. I think so. It's like the first one is 20, and then it's plus 10, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just really good. Even like a 554 or 55 whatever, it's like 30% damage. That's pretty brutal. I rolled a 666 once when I was training. That's a lot of EXP. Yeah, because yeah, it's not really that important, but it's not important to level it up. But if you're a non-Buccaneer, you can imagine how valuable it is to get the 5th job because of you get the roll of the dice skill as well from the 5th job skill, right? Like as an arc, you unlock it. So it's like 20 damage, or is it 20% EXP as well for the 6? Like out of nowhere.
So I thought that skill was trash because I didn't realize when you put that skill on, you actually get an additional skill.
Yeah.
That lets you choose the dice.
Yeah, the weighted.
So now that I realized that, I keep that on my arc all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get the weighted dice, but then you also get the roll of the dice, and it's like, yeah, it's not one of the two, it's both. So you need to put two skills on a key for one V-Matrix. But yeah, it's definitely, especially in the beginning, you know, you put Holy Symbol and you put that one on, you get so much more experience.
Oh yeah.
It's huge to level fast. And then Arc has that one skill that can sometimes give EXP, right? The Contact Caravan.
I keep forgetting to use that skill, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like is it 10-minute cooldown, 5-minute duration or something?
Something like that, yeah.
But yeah, it's pure RNG, and a lot of the time you don't get the one you want, but you know, it's just something to throw up there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess you do need to go pretty high on the IED. So I guess 1 line of IED is probably fine. Again, you might be at the point where your Matrix is trying to take over, but you probably want the familiars to take the brunt and be able to go full send. Because there's definitely emblem gains to be made, right? Especially if you're using that other secondary now, the one with the boss damage and the IED. That's probably the best setup, is to use that one and then to re-roll your emblem for more attack. That's probably the best of both worlds, because it'll also improve your damage on monsters if you go into high level areas. On regular monsters.
Point. So would ranking that compared to the other upgrades, where do you think that would fall?
Yeah, well, it depends on costs. Familiar wise, because if you take a 40% off now on bossing, you're gonna lose too much, because you're at like 93 with the familiar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that means you're dropping to below 90. And with which secondary is this?
That's with the that's not with the bossing and IED one. That's with the 24 attack one.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah, because the 24 attack. I mean, yeah, if you're looking at the like plus damage, then that one's obviously the favorite, and the crit. Oh, and it's with the crit as well. Yeah. So without that crit, you might need to add a little bit more. You might need to add like a little bit more in the hyper stats to make up for that difference, right? But it's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's only like what, like 2%, 3%, 96, 4%.
Just 1%, I think.
Oh,
That's,
1. Okay.
what does that give? 8%, and I'm at 80% now.
You're at 87.
87%.
Yeah, you get 20, right? So this gives.
Yeah,
You want to get to 80? Oh yeah, so to 2. Wait, is it 9%? I think it's a 9% line.
Wait, of course it's not 8%. There's no 8% line in the game. But yeah, 9%. So I need 2 more.
Yeah, 2 more percent. Yeah, so that's like 3 points. That's always doable. Yeah, because you're in a good position now to have between the frozen one and the regular one, quote unquote. I think you're covering all your bases already, so you can freely roll your Princess No. You know, with like extra Meisters, because there's no real loss there, right? So that's a pretty good position to be in, because then on average you probably don't spend as much. But yeah, ideally you want to get like full attack or 2-line attack, 1-line boss. I think. Well, I would say you would put the CRA first, but it depends on how much money you're gonna have by that time. And the 5, 10, 15 is in 2 weeks? No, 3 weeks. Right?
Let me just say, I am so shocked about how many Star Force events are happening.
Yeah, there's 8 right now.
Money to keep up with
or
that.
4, yeah, four of them now in 8 weeks. Yeah, it's a bit clustered.
On top of the DMT we just had.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, they've got everyone coming back for like the winter time, so they're throwing everything at them like, please stay. It's almost desperately trying to. Yeah, it's also one of the problems if you copy all of the events from KMS, but the KMS events come out at different delays, then you end up clustering a bunch of the events. I think we've had 3 Innerability rerolls within 2 months or something. It's kind of ridiculous too. But yeah, I mean, you know, they're trying their best. Sometimes your best is a little weird still.
I could try to farm that up because I just realized I had a hidden stash of wealth potions.
Oh, okay.
So with that, I get roughly a bill per totem.
That is nice, yeah.
So I'm going to try and aim for the next 5, 10, 15. Try to get that CRA gear up.
Yeah, we can definitely look at the costs. It'd probably be like CRA and then the weapon, but yeah, I guess I feel a little bit uncomfortable with saying like you need to redo the. Although you're looking for pretty much the same thing, but I wouldn't be spending too much on the emblem now if the weapon is not that far off, because you want to go hard on the weapon immediately when you get it.
Yeah.
And then once the weapon is sorted, so usually for most people you want to get the weapon first, and then based on what you end up getting on the weapon and what fits the best out of the secondaries that you have, then you fill the gap with what you want on your emblem. But for you, it's just going to be attack on the emblem, right? So that's not really the issue there. It's more that you don't want to reallocate. You don't want to allocate the value or your funds, I guess, onto the emblem now when the weapon is so close that you can, because the weapon has bigger shoes to fill, because it's already, you know, your current one is not like 0 damage. It's got a good flame, it's got 20% damage, right, and some, what is it, a 10% all stat, I think. So it does have something to make up for. If you're at 17 to 19, no star catch, no safeguard. 19 again, level 115. Normal 5, 10, 15. Is it like, okay, it's not too crazy. 2.5 to 3.5 bill per CRA piece. How much do you think you can make by then?
Well, you said it's in 3 weeks.
I believe so, yeah, because I think we have a 1+1 Star Force event this Sunday, and then I don't know what we have, some cucky shitty one, and then the 5 to 15, I believe.
If I bite the bullet and grind a little more on my buck, I think I could get maybe like a 2. So that's 3 boss runs. So that's roughly 6 bill there. I think I could get maybe 8, between 8 and 10 bill.
Okay. Yeah, we have the 1+1 on January 2nd, and then we have Mysterious Monster Blooms and Monsters added to. Oh, and we have Magnificent Soul event on the 9th, and then on the 16th we have the 5, 10, 15. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll lowball and say I should have maybe 8 bill by then.
Okay, and is that also including like the Ursus and Maple Tour money if you do those?
No, it doesn't include that.
Okay. Do you do Ursus daily?
When I remember to.
Oh yeah, okay. Because that's about 100 mil a day, right? So that's like a 7, depending on your level, like 700 to 800 mil per week as well.
Mm-hmm.
It does add up, because that could make the 8 bill turn into 10 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that should be enough money to get all 3 of the CRA pieces from 17 to 19. Which,
Should I
you know.
touch that hat, considering I'm about to move into Arcane? Should I focus on the Abso hat?
Oh, the Abso hat. Yeah, no, yeah, maybe. There's some scroll. There's a scroll right in the event.
For the 17, I was debating if I wanted to use that on the Arcane and hold off on.
Oh, but you can't use it on
Arcane
Arcane because it has to be 160 or lower for the
Well,
level for the item.
now.
Yeah, you can't use it on Arcane
Did not know that. Okay.
because it saves too much money. They don't want you to do that.
Oh damn! Oh man, I don't think I was going to save so much money buying that. So.
No, that's for the. We'll use that one for the Fedora. So you don't have to worry about it for the event. You can just dump it on that one because you don't need it for anything else, right? I mean, you could use it for a tattoo, I guess, but that would be like the only other option. So I guess you could. Yeah, but the tattoo isn't going to be ready for like a while. It would be okay to work on to have the Fedora, but like that means that you might not want to go past 17 on the Royal Wanderer hat for now, like on the CRA hat. In which case, well, you probably want to use that event to get the Papulatus mark and the. Oh, here's what you do, right? Like this weekend, you get a Papulatus mark and 1 Dominator that you have. With that event, you get him up to 15, and just sit on him there, and then you can like slowly start working on the.
My Dominator is 16 already.
Oh, well, that's great. And then just the Pap mark, and then the 5, 10, 15, you bump those up to 16. Work on the CRA, and then if you have your weapon, then that's gonna come in for star forcing. Yeah, and then we have one more 30% off like later, and that one could come into play if you want to for getting some of your fodder up to 15 and ready. So maybe if you have like the extra kind of treasure that's going to go into the superior, you know, the extra fodder for the superior stuff, extra belts, like reinforced earrings, that kind of stuff, you can start trying to get if you have a decent amount of fodder, because you know, if you can blow some of that fodder up, that's almost a good thing, so that you don't have too much stuff in your inventory, and have some 15s ready there if you want to make the big jump there later. But the main thing is that usually 5, 10, 15s are like right before 30% offs, which is like the opposite of what you want. So if there's a 30% off with like no 5, 10, 15 in sight yet, sometimes you want to make sure you don't skip using that, so that next time a 5, 10, 15 comes, you're immediately ready to go on the next piece, you know? Where your account is probably not that expensive comparatively anymore.
So to make sure I have the right order, when it comes to star forcing, it's still CRA, and then when I said 8 to 10 bill, I didn't factor in the mesas I need to buy the droplets.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Because you're at 100 something now, and is that including
I'm
the
at
black bean?
110 now.
Did you buy the black bean ones?
I have 30 more of one of the droplets to get.
Okay.
I think I calculated it yesterday. I think I need at least 3.8 bill to get the remaining. Right,
so better get cracking on some of those totems.
You had
those. You found that stash, right?
Yeah, by that point I should be close to 245 then. By the time I'm done all these totems.
Yeah, then you can start getting some Moonbridge gains.
Moonbridge is where I start picking up on familiars again, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a cool thing if the mark can change to a drop rate by then.
Okay.
Or like, you know, not immediately when you hit it, but like, you know, once you're like in the beginning of that stage. And then if you can hit like the ideal thing is that you hit a large drop rate familiar on Epic, because then, you know, it's just gonna start raining familiars. And then around then or around 250 is probably a good point where you want to see if you can unlock your 3rd slot, right? Go for 10 badges. And then you can have your drop rate in 1 slot, and then 2 other familiars that you're trying to level up into 2 other slots, and then just keep revealing. Is that a Pepe riding a duck? It is.
Looking at that.
Why am I surprised anymore? Yeah, you've got the heart. You've got a backup belt. That's always good, right? For the same reason, right? When you're doing the 21 to 20 and then trying to tap it back up to 21.
Yeah.
Just want to keep, but that's like, so that's the stuff to do after the CRA itself is 21, because yeah, it makes no sense trying to go for 21 superior if the CRA isn't 21 yet. So by then you'll have built up more primals, you get more counter treasure rings, you get more dominators, you get more dineros, you get more Gollux coins. All of those resources will build up, and whenever an event comes around, you kind of just look back at your inventory and be like, okay, well, what's the next jump to make, you know? Let's say the transpose stuff is at 17. You have just enough dineros for one backup. Well, that probably it means, you know, you could maybe try to get up to 18 and all this on the Sweetwater stuff. But probably the next jump is to either, if there's no arcane soon, it's probably just to go back to the CRA and try to see if you can bump them up to 21. Or work on the potentials more on the emblem at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Emblem potential will become probably more important. And maybe the potentials for the accessories that are not going to get transferred into. So mainly the ones that are transposed. Mainly the ones that are transposed, right? Because those are like done, so they're not going to transfer it in any way. So you can go a little bit harder on that potential because you don't want to go hard on the superior potential because that has to get transferred into later.
Yeah.
And then, because your drop stuff's ready. And then after that, the priority would be like the badge and the heart, right? Because even though, you know, they might give you a hard time, still statistically, it's still the better option. It should be pretty, you know, comparatively very cheap to get to 2.5 lines on there. Like two strength, 1 all-stat line. But that's
when people say 2.5, are they talking about all-stat for the half?
Yeah, I mean that's how I call it. I don't know if that's like if that's a general accepted term, but that's what I mean. Yeah, because sometimes people say 3-line, but then they mean 1 all-stat. Like I think 3-line is exclusively like 13-10-10 or 12-9-9 of your main stat. Like that's it. Or if it's like a double prime, but one of them is an all-stat line, so it's still technically totally 30%. You'll say like that's also like a 3-line, but with an all-stat or something. Yeah, and the other one usually I call 2.5 line because it's like. It's definitely better than 2-line. It's not quite 3-line, but like somewhere in between. Maybe it's more like 2.75. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to do like the maths, but it's like in between. All right. Is there a piece? Yeah, I guess the badge is also like a 12-star, but you know the badge doesn't get any attack once you're past 15, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm keeping it at 12 for now.
So it's totally fine not to have that as a priority because you'll end up in situations where like, okay, every upgrade is 40 bill now, and there's an event and I have nothing to, I don't have that kind of money. I'm just gonna get the Star Force on the badge and then that's fine, and that'll just be a little bit of a bonus then, rather than being something you spend comparatively a lot of money on now and basically get nothing for in return. So that's totally fine to make a lower priority. I guess the only thing left is like, what is the 4th ring gonna be, right? Are you gonna get a bit more? Are you gonna get lucky with Slime Ring? Are you gonna push a little bit harder on that one, or are you gonna try to make a Meister?
I will probably end up making a Meister. I've been saving a lot of my materials for the Meister, so I should be able to go hard on that. I just have to level up my profession for that.
Yeah, the Meister smithing, Meister accessory crafting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You know about the face accessories that you can make?
No.
There's some I got a video on that. Exclamation mark Meister. There you go. There's some like lower level face accessories that seem kind of garbage, and they are, but you need them as materials to make Meister face accessories or eye accessories, one of the two. They're actually really good. They give like 5,000 experience each, and all you need is I think it's one of those lower level ones, and then a few Philosopher's Stones, I think. And then it's either I think it's just crystals and then some abrasives, and that's it. So it's not that many materials, but everything has cooldown, so you want to make as many different things as possible, right? Because there's cooldown between all the things, so you can just craft a little bit of all of them.
Wait. What do you mean by cooldown?
Like when you craft it, there's going to be 15 minutes cooldown before you can make the same item again, and you have to be online for those 15 minutes.
Oh, that's odd, but okay, good to know.
Yeah. And then once you get past 10, it can you can decay again, right?
Yeah, that's another reason I've been kind of dragging my feet on that. That's another, essentially a daily to add to everything.
Yeah, it's not fun. Sometimes even a twice daily, like you want to do it in the morning and in the evening, because it resets in less than 24 hours. So I think it's like an 18-hour reset or something. You know.
It's an awkward time frame.
Yep. Just to to make sure that you keep coming back. But yeah.
I guess it works.
Yeah, and the thing is, once you get to 12 and you keep a 17-hour reset. Yeah, I usually tell people to make things every 17 hours so that you get it before it starts decaying. But I think the decay is at 18, if I'm not mistaken. But Ikrab, if you can find the exact source for that, that would be good, because I just always had in my head that it's an 18 hour, so you want to make it on the in around 17 hours so that it doesn't go down. You don't want it every single time to go down a little bit, and because that's the other annoying thing is if it drops below, anything you make will just give you just enough experience to get to the next level. Like it won't overflow into it. So you might not get the full EXP. So if you make it a little bit earlier, it'll fully flow into the next one and then give you a bigger buffer until it will go down lower to the level. So, when you get to Meister, you might also just make for a few days, make some extra stuff. So that if you forget a day here or there, or you don't exactly go on the 17 hours and 59 minute mark, that it doesn't immediately decay below, because that's a little bit annoying. 1700 EXP flat after 17 hours have elapsed, and then an additional 100 EXP per hour according to Reddit. Okay, so it is 17 hours. Okay, so it's 16 hours in a little bit, okay. So no sleeping. Well, if you sleep, no more than 8 hours and 59 minutes, I guess. Hold on.
Wait, how the hell is that supposed to work, considering 8 hours of sleep, let's say 8 hours for a job.
Well, you gotta make something before you go to work, and then make something before you go to sleep. Yeah. Yeah, 100 an hour is not too bad, because that's like 800, but if you make one of those face accessories, that's like 5,000, so that gives you pretty big of a buffer. It's just one of those things where if you completely forget it for a whole week, it'll be like, oh shit, now it's serious. But yeah, if you make it over the level every day, then you always have a little bit of a buffer and you should be fine. Make one thing a day, yeah, but it's just another one of those things to do every day, It's one of the things where you kind of lose you're relinquishing your control, and you're telling kind of giving the game the power to tell you what to do. Which some people have more of a problem with than other people. Okay, so we know where the scroll's going. Rings, secondaries. Yeah, so that was not with the... Yeah, I guess that's the main thing you can try doing the BA as well, right? Try to choose 2 secondaries and see what the difference is. If it's similar... I imagine the attack one is probably better because it's double prime lines, but the other one has 3 useful lines. No. Okay, I'm guessing the wrist armor probably be better until you redo the emblem, and then the other one is probably going to be better. Like the frozen is probably going to be better now, and then if you redo the emblem, the other one is probably going to be better.
Gotcha. And I guess for the Princess Noah, just look out for triple prime, or not triple prime, but 3-line attack.
3-line attack or 2-line attack on a boss is also really good. When people are talking about this is best in the slot, usually, definitely now at this point because of the redoing of the reboot passive, the margins are very thin. With if 1-line of boss or 1-line attack would be better, it's probably so close that it's not worth your money almost ever to redo that and to re-optimize for that. Maybe if you're sitting on literal hundreds of billions, you know. So until then, yeah, if you roll like 40 boss and 2 lines of attack or something like that, that's probably also really, really good for a long time. And that'll take some pressure off of needing to be super optimal on your weapon. And you're probably gonna end up on your weapon with like 2-line attack, 1-line boss, secondary 2-line attack, 1-line boss, and then your emblem like 2-line attack, 1-line damage or something. That'll probably be really good for like a long time. And then the IED should hopefully come from other sources, maybe like more from the familiars, etc. Well, they really don't go. There must be something that gives you IED if they're saying that you don't need any line on your WSE.
I think.
Because you have your Legion, you have your 40 chunk from Legion, and you have
See,
like.
there's a source I'm not considering. I'm still logged on my character.
I can check the Discord too, maybe I can see why. Class. I don't think these guys kicked me, right? Buccanizer. Energy guide. Bossing, special content, dojo.
If you want to see the comment I'm referencing, if you go to the chat and go to like the oh wait, this is a different time frame. 2:57 Eastern. What is that? Is that like 7:57 for you?
In the general chat?
Yeah, general chat, like essentially like right after
I see a bunch of emotes.
I think the beginning of the day or beginning of yesterday.
I see the skill with the Lord of the Deep around it.
Oh man, I wish it looked like that. But it's after that.
There's like a bunch of emotes. And there's a picture of someone getting banned. Oh no, getting disconnected. Is it after that one? That's around. Was that 11:25 your time?
Oh wait, I'm in questions. I'm sorry, I'm in questions.
Oh, questions. Okay.
Yeah.
So as in general. Oh, what's the ideal WSE? Oh yeah, triple prime, 9-line attack. Between 8 attack 1 boss and 6 attack 3 boss, 6 attack 3 boss did more damage in the BA using 50 octo punches, but I feel like it should probably test in full bossing links Legion instead of training links. Yeah, probably. Regardless, the margins between them are a lot smaller, not worth breaking the bank for 3-line attack IMO, yeah. Secondary 3-line attack, 21 attack, 12 damage, and 12 attack, 60 boss. Just think the regular 30 attack should be better, but my boss one give me slightly higher BA. Use GPQ as BA. Yeah, you can use GPQ as well, right? That's just use the culvert.
Oh, yeah, there's a thing now.
That's that saves you a whole bunch of dummies, basically.
Yeah.
And most of the things you want to use on BA, you can't use there anyway. Excuse me.
And that has 300%. Wait, that has fluctuating PDR though, right? As you go in the higher in the stages.
Yes. The it starts at 50 and then, or it starts at 0 and then goes up at 50 per boss. It's like 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. Yeah. So you'd have to start the BA once you hit the big one that you're gonna stay on, I guess.
Gotcha.
Should reboot the only thing because oh, they're talking about other stuff here. Talking about burning. Yeah, it seems that IED is like not part of their conversation at all, though.
Now this is a mix of non-reboot, so it's possible they have more options. So I think they can get higher. They can get better familiar since they have that extra tier, right? So maybe that could possibly be a reason behind it.
Hmm. Wait, is anything? Does anyone chat know anything about ID and Buccaneers? 10 max? I think 10 is max for hyperstats until you're level 200, or can you go past it? I think you need to be 5th job to go past 10, if I'm not mistaken. But then you can go up to 15, yeah. Oh, Mirror saying it after 200, yeah. Well, I'll definitely keep my eye out for it, see if I hear something more about it. But it's definitely going to be... It's going to have to be that secondary and have to be the FAMs to take the pressure off of your emblem so that the emblem can be re-rolled. That should see some direct results. Because, you know, lines of percentage attack are always juicy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'll probably let the 5 to 15 pass since your income isn't like, you know, tens of billions a week. So probably let the 5 to 15 pass and see where your CRA ends up. But mostly the top and the bottom, right? So it shouldn't be too bad. And then depending on the, you know, if you're able to afford the droplets and get the weapon, if you have any money left after that, it'll probably be the emblem after that.
So definitely buy the. So I should buy the droplets to get the arcane as soon as possible, right?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, percentage-wise, it's just such a huge increase because finally you can get
And
flames that do something.
and
Because the
then
base is so shitty for Abzu and below.
and then should I prioritize that weapon for the 5, 10, 15? I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, because you want to move into that ASAP.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, focus on the CRA.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And then pot weapon, pot emblem, and then and then, you know, you also do the Star Force on the pat mark, right? And then probably like then flame weapon, and then flame pat mark, and then transposing. Yes. And then everything to 17. Then the scroll on the hat for bossing. Then the ring, right? Finish the full damaging set. And the second pendant is fine for now. I wouldn't go too crazy on that. It's only if you want to go higher. But then the damage pendant is going to get replaced, right? So then you can choose the other damage pendant if you do something with that one.
Which damage pendant?
Your reinforced one, right? Because then you'll have three.
Yeah.
You'll have 3 superior pendants. So you can kind of see based on. So then you can have like a flex spot. So if you're redoing, trying to go for the combination of 5/5 and the combination of just 10 drop, depending on what you end up rolling on another piece, that could mean that one of your pendants becomes a flexible spot because it's just one. You know, it's just one cube away. At that point, it doesn't really matter which pieces you're putting in. It just matters what their potential are. So then it'll give you an extra flex spot that you can move around if the rings aren't giving you exactly what you want. Plus, then the event ring can also become a drop rate once the Meister comes in for damage. And then you should be pretty close to having like enough accessories in total. Maybe you need to make like one more, but you can always get like an extra kind of treasure or something. So that shouldn't be too crazy. Or I guess, did you give the current event ring already to someone?
No, I'm holding off on giving that to the hero once I make it.
Okay, yeah. And then you can scroll that one immediately as well. Boom, free legendary.
Yep.
Okay. And you've got your list of characters that you would want to make into boss meals? Or do we need to
yeah,
look over
just
them?
about.
Anything I can help
think
with
I
there,
have-
maybe?
Let me see.
Because you had
So
hero,
definitely hero.
arc. It's a lot of strength characters, right?
Yeah, you can see a theme going here.
Yeah, the Buck, the Cannoneer, the Arc, the Hero,
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, Dawn Warrior were also up there, I saw.
Dawn Warrior would probably be on that up there as well. Laura, I think Laura's the only
Yeah, that's all.
magicians up there.
I'm seeing a lot of overlap with my my characters. Yeah, I
I
got
would
the
say
hero in
kind.
there.
Kind is definitely up there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind is already do 4 door. Now is before the final damage change.
Mm-hmm. Now they're just walking around with 200% final attack clean.
Yeah.
Or final damage, yeah.
And after that, I think those are and Jug Buster. That was the first character. That was the first character I burned during this event.
Mm-hmm. That one really, yeah, I haven't really tried out the 5th job too much on Angelic Buster. Is that a good bump?
That character was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. The
Okay.
fifth job's on a little strange, but it does add a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got
But the
like
base
the...
kit alone, I really enjoy.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a pretty hot or cold for people, like a hit or miss when it comes to the regular, oh God, what's it called? Like the base attack, right? The Trinity, right?
Yeah.
It's just, for some people, it's just not it. And for other people, it's pretty cool to see it that way. Like, I think it's pretty hot, yeah, hit or miss for people. Because you rely on Trinity quite a bit.
Hmm.
Well, I guess it's a hit for you. I guess then you have
Yeah,
enough
I
characters,
do.
right? You don't want to spread yourself too thin.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to be careful of that too.
Mm-hmm. And when you do start doing CRA, you'll get a lot of cubes and flames from all that as well, which won't have, probably at that point, not too much value anymore on your main. So they're just gonna, they're just gonna circle around between the characters to upgrade them in their current stage without having to directly throw a lot of money on them. And then when you have like 5 to 15s or 30% offs, and there's not really something to work on your main because maybe every project is either really expensive or you don't have the backups, then you can work slowly on those guys as well. Then they'll slowly work their way up to like Lotus and Damien levels.
Hmm. Thunderbreaker was on that list, but
Mm-hmm.
I think Thunderbreaker might be in a worse position than the Buck from everything I've gathered.
Yeah, I don't want to like beat down on classes, of course, but it feels like they kind of got shafted with that attack change and with that it was like an animation cancel kind of
Like a delay change or
yeah,
something.
the delay.
Yeah.
It's just really unfortunate. One of the downsides of getting just copy paste from KMS and then sucks.
Oh, I had a question. What was it? Oh, for the hero, is there a big difference between the a two-handed sword versus two-handed axe?
Not terribly. No, like 200X is a little bit stronger, but that's the only difference. It's a little bit more attack and it's a little bit more percentage damage. The main thing is, I would say like the main. If you can just choose whatever you want, then just it's not a huge difference. If you're min-maxing for endgame, then 200X would be the best. A 200 sword, of course, would be more valuable if you're trying to maybe switch to Paladin, but then the most valuable thing would be one-handed sword because it's also pretty close, but then you can also keep the shield as a secondary that you wouldn't have to remake. So that would be more
So
valuable.
for someone who's just going to casually be playing hero for bossing, what's the most? What do you think is the most reasonable? To go two-handed axe, maybe?
Yeah, I would do 200X, yeah.
No, okay.
But the weapon attack is the same, but I don't think that the difference is that huge. Some people are like, I like the attack animation better on the sword. I don't know. It's all changing in 6 months anyway, right? They were like slightly changing all this stuff.
I think it was your reaction I was looking at when you were saying how the sword animation looks so much better.
Well, other people say that. I think the axe animation looks better. I don't see it.
You think the axe is better?
Yeah, but I know a lot of
Okay.
people do sword because they like that one better. I don't know. Maybe I just got used to the axe early on. I don't know, but I feel like the axe looks better. But most of the time you just have like pretty much full transparency on anyway, so
Yeah.
it's barely visible.
I accidentally forgot to turn my transparency down when I bossed on my Lara, and I died. I got so close to dying so many times.
Yeah, you
That
can't
one
see
finally gave me a
anything.
window to change it.
Yeah, you can't see. People were like, when I was mobbing, I was like, oh, why did you turn the animations on? It's so cute. Well, now I can't see the veins on the ground, so I don't see where to repump my skills because it's like covering everything. That's what kind of, yeah. But yeah, that kind of colored my whole review of the new skills as well, where I don't like most of the looks. I think they kind of look the same for the character, like it's all the same blob, all the same color. But then after that, I guess most of it is going to be invisible most of the play anyway, so is it really that important? I guess not.
Then KMS has a new system where they kind of highlight the outline of the boss. So
Yeah,
wouldn't that change that to some degree?
I don't think I would still play like that because I don't think it looks good. um,
Yeah, true, true.
Plus, it's an outline. I don't know. I would almost want the option to layer the effects behind the boss if you wanted to. That you could choose that. I think that would make more
Hmm.
sense. Then I probably would do it. Although that would probably also look weird, but at least then you can see the full animation of the boss. Because if you just see the outline change, I don't know how distinct the attacks are. In that some of the outlines of the skills might still not be distinct enough that you don't exactly see what skill they're using. I don't know.
I saw some videos with that change, and if you add on top of the messages that pops up for most boss skills
Mm-hmm.
towards the end, I don't think you'll miss out on too many
Hmm.
attack patterns.
Because they changed the colors as well, right? Because the colors for the first one were like it was like red and green flashing. It was like borderline
Yeah,
epileptic
it
seizure.
was bad.
Yeah, that was not good. So they at least needed to change the colors. That was already a good move. But as long as there's more options and people can customize whatever fits their playstyle better, then I'm all for that. You know, as long as it's, more options doesn't seem bad.
Hmm.
All right. Well, let me know if there's anything you think we missed. I think we
I
went over everything.
don't think so. I had a rough, like a quick list together.
Mm-hmm. Anything you can see
Um,
on the list? Secondaries,
oh, I think we
power,
covered everything. I think
rings.
think an, I think another thing we didn't really talk about, but I don't think there's too much to cover for that is getting ready for Will. And Will has the same HP as Lucid, right? It's just a lot more mechanic heavy.
I actually don't know exactly how they are HP wise, but it's definitely more of a mechanics check. Yeah. It's also more just of a playtime check because he himself is level 250, and for bonus damage you need 1140 arcane power for max bonus damage. So that just takes people longer to get that arcane power in to get to the level. You want to be honestly, you want to be at least 245, otherwise you have way too much damage reduction. And even a full party of 245s who like barely meets the requirement for the arcane power will still like kind of struggle. But it's fine to kind of do. I think it's fine when parties start looking at normal will that you're also at that point starting to look at hard lucid. That seems
Hmm.
like a normal progression just because of the levels and the arcane power at that point. And then once normal becomes basically what normal lucid is for you now, once normal will becomes
Hmm.
that, then you want to move into hard will, because hard will is not that much harder. It's just more. The main thing is more HP, and the moonlight recovery is way slower. So you want to be able to basically be able to respond so quickly that you dodge pretty much everything. Otherwise, your moonlight grows very very slowly, and then you end up dying because of that, and then that snowballs into runs failing. So it all comes
Yeah,
down to just mechanics.
I got semi carry. We didn't finish it, but I got semi carry through hard will like a week, last week,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no idea what I was doing. The
People just
party was
yelling
initially
things.
for hard lucid,
Mm-hmm.
but my guild leader went to easy lucid by mistake. So since we had to wait the half hour,
Oh
we
yeah.
decided to try hard will, and I think I died out halfway during phase
Oh,
two.
because everyone had the buffs
I was
on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I
pop
was just
buffs. Oh
lost.
shit, it's easy. Oh god, what do we do? Yeah, oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, and it's because it's very easy to die in phase one if you don't know exactly what's going on. But once you get through the mechanics, like phase one is, there has to be a lot of stuff that goes wrong in phase one. It's pretty much you're barely not full HP, you can't heal, and you get switched into the test, and you get transferred into the other dimension, and it has a tornado going through it right as you land, and
Oh
there you
yeah.
die. Like that's pretty much the only thing in phase one that should really be killing you. Everything else just becomes pretty easy. It's all about like being just behind him, staying in the middle of the map. If you see him touching his glasses and turning red, you definitely get out of there, or you either switch
Mhm.
dimensions if you have enough. Like in normal, you can do that, but you want to, get to the point where you don't have to do that, so that because in hard you won't be able to switch as much, because then when the test hits, and you have to know the intervals for time. Like the first one is at 28:50, so 1 minute and 10 seconds in, and from then on it's every 2 minutes. And that as well, that's going to determine how, and in every check he checks the HP bars, right? to see if they're both depleted. If they're not, then it goes both of the HP bars go to whichever one is the highest HP, and you have to start from there. And then at the next check, he checks again. And if they are both depleted, then you go into that stage with the little dome that you probably saw. That you hit, and then balls come falling from the sky, and you have to make sure that there's a yellow dome to protect you, and then you stay in the dome from the second screen crack. And then if that goes well and nobody dies, he gets stunned for a little bit, and then you can start damaging the second part of the HP bar, and that's basically phase 1. So it comes down to knowing how much damage your party does, and kind of spacing out your bursts and not going too hard on one dimension and then neglecting the HP bar of the other one, because then once the test rolls around, he just heals it all back up. So it's all about evenly getting the HP bars down, or if you know you have enough damage, just blowing one up and then blowing the other one up if your party can do that, of course. And sometimes it's better to take more time than to try to rush it, because sometimes if you try to rush it, you actually end up with a negative outcome.
Yeah, I don't know what a good basis for line damage is, but when I went in there, although this was with Kana's domain, I was hitting like 2 bills on the hard will. So I would like to think I'm not too far away from having the damage to really contribute to him. I just need to learn to fight better.
Yeah, that's a lot of confirming your damage is just not dying to dumb shit. That's basically what it comes down to a lot of the time. But yeah, if you're already like, okay, we're probably gonna try to do hard Lucid, then the damage is probably already going there, because you have the arcane power, and then the level is going to be there. Once you get closer to 250, even more of that damage is going to get committed. And if you go above 250, you'll even do more final damage bonus. So that's going to be the little extra on top. But getting to do enough damage is, if you know how your character works and how the boss works, you can commit a lot more damage than someone who has way better gear but has no idea what the fuck's going on. They'll just, there's babe in the woods, completely lost, trying to jump all over the place, thinking they'll be safer. Most of the time, if you jump all over the place, you're actually less safe, especially true in Black Mage, of course.
Actually happened to me, so I feel that.
It's like when you're starting Lucid, right? And you have like the laser phase, and you're like, and then if you start jumping around like a headless chicken, you actually get hit by way more. But if you just stutter step sideways slightly, you dodge everything. You kind of get better at that with more practice. You try different strats. And the main thing is the phase 2 in Will. That just takes like a few runs. It takes most people like 2, 3, 4 runs to get the hang of the test in phase 2. As long as you trigger it at the right point, not when there's a web, because that adds a little bit of difficulty. But there's just patterns, right?
I got caught behind that a few times.
Which is not the end of the world. If you get caught behind it, if there's a crack, then you do have. Is your iframe instant, or do you have to charge it to a certain point before it turns into an iframe?
For the iframe that's a burst, I have to, not until the mouth closes does it become an iframe. So honestly, I don't even consider that an iframe. I consider Meltdown my true iframe.
It might be
a lot more flexible.
Because if you like Meltdown and then dash right after, you could go through the webs, I assume, without dying to it. Yeah, that'll be one of those things where you kind of, either a Buccaneer can give you like some tips on like, what to do in case of those exceptions. In the beginning, it's going to feel like every single situation is an exception, but then as you play it more, it's been like, oh, okay, this is all normal, and it's like, oh, this is a situation where I can get fucked. And those are the ones that you want to avoid, and all the other ones have easy solutions, but those ones will have hard solutions, and it's good to know what those are, because if they're not, then you can tell like, okay, I'm dead, guys, sorry, this is my bad. Or it's like I couldn't do anything, because the whole thing is like getting reversed if you're close to him. In phase 2, he also tends to hit behind him, like the other way than he's facing, because his mirror image on the ground is actually hitting the other side. And then you can get knocked around, you can get pushed on top of the webs. That probably happened a few times, I imagine. It's pretty normal in the beginning. So it's kind of like a phase 1. It's good practice to just stay absolutely in the middle of the map. As long as you're not jumping, you stand absolutely in the middle. You shouldn't be able to get pushed all the way to the side. One trick that you could use if you're okay with losing some damage but getting some utility, you could also wear snowshoes. That way you don't slide all the way to the side, because you just stop.
So random, but it's crazy that how many ways people can think of to get through some of these mechanics.
Yeah, there was some Kana who was doing it because they were getting carried and they were not contributing any damage anyway. They were just hitting like ones because they didn't even have the IED, but they were just doing domain and band, and then they wore snowshoes. It was like to see if it worked, and it actually worked. It was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And for phase 3, it's like the pattern for jump and stay. Some people call like white eyes or yellow eyes, I think, and some people call move and stay. You just have to like flash jump at the right time. Flash jump is the easiest one to use to dodge. It's got the longest air time. But basically, you know, you're trying to get hit by something, and if you're doing the right action at the right time, then you don't take damage from it, so then you're cool. If it's a stay, you don't use any movement skill.
Is it that you don't want to be on the ground when you have to move, or you just can't be within a certain range of where you were?
Yeah, there's going to be an attack that hits, and you want to be out of that range. There are some people who don't have to use a movement skill, like a flash jump or a teleport or something like that. There's some people who can just use, like Hayato can use their hurricane skill, because they move so fast that they can move out of the hitbox. But they have to be still moving in a direction, right, and still away from the thing that hits them. I assume if they get reversed or something, they might just walk back into it and still die. But usually it's, usually it's just like flash jumps are the safest ones. Gives you the most airtime, so that you get further away, and that your in movement skill makes it so that you don't get hit. Yeah.
I'd imagine I should be able to dash far enough out of that.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to the timing, because it's a pretty narrow window, and depending on your ping, it could just hit right after you do the dash and then still hit you right at the end point of the dash. Maybe if you spam like 2 or 3 dashes, it's probably, you know, that's probably going to be pretty hard to hit you. But flash jump is just by far the safest, especially the Buccaneer one, because it goes pretty far horizontally, right?
Yeah.
So that one seems pretty safe.
Okay.
The quicker your movement is, the harder it is. Yeah, like the shorter the window that does the movement, the harder the time it is. Yeah.
So because my dash is like an instant reposition, because it cancel out whatever I'm doing, it might be kind of harder to time that.
Yeah, because either you'll get hit right before you do it, or like right after you do it, the hit will only start. You have to pinpoint exactly the moment that the attack is like, bam, like it hits. And if you do flash up like a little bit before it, you don't have to be as precise.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, the slower skill.
I think I could just instantly dash out of it.
If your timing is perfect, you can do that as well. Yeah, timing is quite tricky, especially with ping. If you have people from different regions playing, you could have a little bit of desync as well. So, flash jump is your friend. People who have teleports usually don't like that stage very much.
I heard that's rough for mages.
Spiral Assault, maybe? Oh yeah, that could maybe work. I don't know how long that one lasts.
That's what I'm talking about for my... I meant not dash, my rush. I should have said my rush skill, Spiral Assault.
Yeah, I thought you meant the fifth jump.
Instantly cancel whatever I'm doing.
Can you up jump the move? No, I've tried that.
What, does it hit like all the way up to the ceiling in the position that you're in?
Yeah. I think one time I survived, but it was because something else hit me, so I was hit immune for a little bit. But it pretty much hits all the way to the ceiling, I think, yeah.
Gotcha.
There's a point in the animation where it saves your location. Yeah, because I used to try to dash out of the Lotus purple balls. Like, if they were on me, I tried to dash out of that. But if you're a little bit too late, your hitbox is both where you were and where you're going to be. So you're going to die to either one. So it's almost like you're making it harder for yourself to survive. Sometimes it's better to just walk out of it, because then you are physically moving your hitbox. But if you're dashing, you're like saving it in time and moving it to the new spot at the same time. So you could, actually decrease your chances of survival versus just walking. So once I realized that and I just started walking, I could dodge them way better.
Gotcha. I think Will's probably would be my new hated boss soon. Because of all the mechanics with it, but I'm not too worried about him. Right now, Pop is still #1 on my list.
Yeah. Not your fave. I guess you have to stay close, right? Because of Lord of the Deep, you have to stay pretty close.
Yep. And you know, everywhere except for one specific spot on that map kills you most of the time.
Yeah,
So
the purple
I
clocks.
decided to work on the best mechanic in the game to
Damage.
do
Yeah.
him. Yep. Only reason why I do him now.
Pick up the bind and burst him down.
Yep. I can usually get rid of the first body and then a little some with one bind.
Oh, that's solid, yeah. Then you just... Oh, that's... Yeah, that's with using your... I was going to say, then you just iframe, but that's what you already used to do the damage.
Yeah, sadly. That's why if Bucks get one other thing in this update, I just want a flexible iframe like what Arcs have.
Yeah, or the one that the Cannoneers have or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's also very flexible.
It's like, what is it, like 30-second cooldown?
Yep.
Versus 90, yeah, and that's way more utility. Any boss without dropping projectiles is a good boss for me. So like 2 of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
All the other ones have it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess for hard will, I do have a video on that where I kind of like talk through the mechanics, basically like now, but a little bit more detail and stuff.
Yeah, once I'm ready, once I hit 245, I'm going to watch those videos in more detail to get ready for them.
Somebody asked earlier in the progression session if I was talking to Kobe. I can kind of hear it, but... Not entirely, but like sometimes the way you say some things... Because I think Kobe's in the same region as you are, right? I think he's also East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I wasn't expecting that. That's funny.
Oh, maybe you can moonlight as like a Kobe impressionist or something. You do some voiceover voiceover work. The laugh is similar. Oh no!
Oh God,
it's
no.
growing.
That's funny.
What is that? I think 32k.
32k, yeah,
Up to
base, and then
34
with,
buffed or something.
Yeah, with Maple God is 34.
34, yeah. Basically, where your Dallas. Yeah, it's a good spot to be. But yeah, this is where the big upgrade, all of the upgrades from now on become expensive, and just you want to be on event all the time, basically.
Yeah, I now at this point, seeing where my gear at, I'm just thinking, how the heck did people hit the 40, 50, 60k stat?
Yeah, because you feel like everything is already so close to being where it can be, right?
Yeah, like the extra stat, of course, getting 3-line main stat on all my stuff, but does Star Forcing give that much stat as well?
It gives a decent amount, but that gets multiplied by your stat, by your percentage, right? So that ends up being a decent portion, and then it's like the flat amounts from your symbols being finished. It's definitely also now people going into Grandis, and the Grandis symbols give a decent amount. And then it's like 1 extra line of potential on all of your pieces. If you add all of that up, that's a decent amount. And then that multiplies even more with like all of the Star Force stats. Yeah, sometimes it feels like you're at 34. You're like, okay, maybe I could see myself going to like 38, maybe 39. But then what's left after that? It's like, well, it's like getting everything to 21 and then redoing all your pots to 2.5 lines. Once you're there, you're at like 48, 49. And then it's all like sacred symbols and tweaking your flames at that point.
I see.
Going for like 140, 145 flame score arcanes and stuff like that.
40k seems still within the realm of reason, but after that, it's just going to feel so painful to go higher.
Yeah, 50 gets rough, and then going past 50. Going past 50 in the beginning won't be too bad, because that's usually when the Cernium stuff comes in. But then once that slows down, which is pretty quickly, because those things don't level for shit, yeah, then it gets really, really rough. But you have the potential badge, so there is definitely room there. But yeah, you're looking at like 21-star arcanes and everything else 21 or 22 and pretty much perfect. That's where my arc is at, right? My arc is at 55 or 57, somewhere around there, like depending on my setup. And that's like everything 21 with a few 22s. Pretty much everything is either like 30 out of 33 or 27 out of 30, but most items are full 30 out of 30, 33 out of 33. And like the flames are not like godly, but they're definitely good, all of them. Yeah, and then full legion, full links, hyperstats, all that stuff. Maybe there's some... I don't know how much member bonus there is that you can get more. You got mostly the strength characters at 200, right?
Yeah.
Like Kaiser, I guess. But yeah, that's like small chunks, I guess.
And they don't stack with percentage either.
No, it's mostly if you get your Legion to 8k that you can put enough characters in, and then in the center of the board you go for strength over attack, because that strength does get multiplied. So that'll give a decent... yeah, that's why eventually you want to go for strength over attack in the middle. Because the attack gets multiplied, but it's a small number. Yes, it'll probably be a little bit better, yeah. Not like an insane amount, but probably a little bit better, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, as Knuckle uses...
I was thinking of burning Kaiser, but then I decided Hero will probably be a stronger bossing mule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard some good things about Kaiser. I'm looking forward to Project Sierra, but you know, there's a lot of other stuff to get through to get to that point.
Now,
yeah,
did you start doing the ones you look forward to the least first? Because I'm honestly waiting for the string characters, which is the warriors and the pirates.
Oh, I wanted to monetize it a little bit, so I basically put up like a riggable poll where people could do like extra votes for like for bits, and people voted to get the to do the thieves first and the mages second. So I basically just went by the original poll, because you can only do 5 poll answers, but there were 5 groups, right? So warriors got the least votes, so they were like dead last.
How about that? I thought more people want to see a hero go hard or something.
I guess because I already have a lot of strength characters that I can do it on, maybe that's why they kind of like voted them later, maybe.
Fair.
And they know I don't...
hero videos.
That too, yeah. And I don't really like thief classes or mage classes, and my chat knows that, so they probably just wanted to hurt me more by voting those first, so we got through all of that. Okay, yeah, I don't know how long we went, but I'm pretty sure it's probably over 2 hours at this point.
Probably, yeah.
So if there's anything else that comes up that you think is significant before events and all that, just hit me up on Discord, or you know, you can always ask me in the chat, and then me or someone else can help you out there. But good progress. I hope. Yeah, we're gonna keep a lookout for the changes, right? Hopefully, Buck gets some sweet changes, and we can finally stop saying Buck suck.
No, I just want everyone to know, once Bucks become top 10 DPS, I'm going to be making a bunch of troll videos for y'all.
Troll
everyone
videos?
Who talk bad about the Buck.
Okay. All right, well, we're looking forward to those. Thank you, Kobe. I mean...
good one.
You could probably like disguise it as like pretending to be Kobe. I think it might work, honestly. If you like pick up some of the mannerisms.
I can't watch his videos the same way again after this.
Well, once you hear that'll be a good thing. Like once you hear the progression session on YouTube, you might hear if it sounds similar to you as well or not. Because you hear yourself differently, right? Because you're inside and outside.
You got the extra bass because it's vibrating your own body. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I guess mostly best of luck. I hope it all works out financially with all the stuff. But yeah, hopefully I have a better idea now on like what to do, what order to attack things in. And I just hope the arcane weapon doesn't cost all too much, because that thing can get very pricey very quickly.
I know it's going to be a tight window, but I think I can make do. But yeah, this is pretty helpful. Thank you.
Okay, pretty helpful. That's what I go for. I'll call that a seal of improvement. Pretty helpful. We could put that somewhere. All right. But yeah, best of luck, and I'll see you around.
Yep.
All right. Have a good one. Good holidays, end of the year, all that stuff.
You too. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
See ya.
All right, cool. So that was not Kobe, just to be clear. It sounded a little bit like him. I think they're from the same region. I think they're both East Coast. I think Kobe's in Jersey as well, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Because he's near Matt, and Matt's in New York, I think. I don't know 100%. But yeah, I think in general this is where we saw some people in the last month in the same situation. It's time to take, you know, those risks that you've been putting off going past 17 stars. It's nobody's favorite, but if your potential is at this point, it's definitely Star Force time. So, you know, get those backups and wait for those 5, 10, 15s and go hard. If you have a lot of backups, you could use 30% off. That's kind of up to you. I don't like the amount of booms coming out of 30% off. I prefer 5, 10, 15s. I have the patience, but if you're not as risk aversive or you make more money, then you can definitely brute force with 30% offs as well. So yeah, that's the stuff that we would work on. So again, leave a comment if you would like one of these sessions for yourself as well. If you don't want to wait, there's also a link in the description on how you can request these sessions one-on-one with me. These are paid sessions, and also sometimes subscribers in my Twitch chat can also redeem them with the channel points that they get from watching the stream. So if you want to win, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will pick 2 winners at the end of the month, as I've been doing for the last few months. It's been working pretty well, so I'm liking that system. And on one hand, it's like, oh, you're giving them for free, but I think it, it keeps the constant stream of sessions going. Plus, it's extra content for YouTube to constantly have that. And I've seen a lot of people liking to listening to these when they're doing totems and stuff, or use them as like podcast background noise. And there's usually always 1 or 2 things that you pick up where you either didn't know exactly, or that you didn't even know that there was something to know about a certain system. So hopefully that kind of hopefully that little bit over time knowledge helps you get like a more holistic package deal knowledge of everything, one step at a time. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, I'm glad. Hopefully it helped you out a little bit. And if you enjoyed watching, make sure to keep watching the videos, or catch me live on Twitch. I stream there every day, and I'll be happy to have you over there. Other than that, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, YouTube.